Okay, this is my review of the server room, or the data center, I guess. This building is a data center in the Battlefield 6 campaign. So first thing, this is the data center, still under construction, not done being built. This is the way we came in, but you can see they're still obviously working on it. Really bad to turn on the light here. Really bad to have a data center full of servers in a building that's still under construction. Lots of dust can get into them and really shorten the life of your servers through debris and dust. So I really don't know why they already brought in all these server racks while they're still working on the building. If you see the outside, there's floors that are still not even built. On the top, they're still pouring concrete on top of this building. So that's the first big problem with this data center. Let's move on in and start looking at the actual servers that they have in here. I forgot, I'm gonna have to fight real quick. I think there's guys in there.
Pack's got ahead of us!
Where's the other village
Let me just take out these bad guys real quick. I think we got him though. Alright. Nope. Nope. Still one more. Where is that guy?
We're settling in.
He's dead.
Gotta hurry. C4 on those support pillars should bring the whole place down.
Okay, so cable runs through the ceiling. Really nice. A lot of very pretty looking cables going up in the ceiling. That's a nice detail that they added. However, they just kind of go right into concrete.
Time's running out. We wiring these up or what?
Just right into the concrete walls. Not really sure where they're supposed to be going. And then you have all these really nice cable runs. Really nice cable runs here for like fiber. This would be like where the fiber runs. This is power. Other stuff in conduit. But then you have a lot of cables that are just kind of tacked to the wall. I know this is a government facility, but even for government work, this is pretty shoddy. Just bare cables tacked to the concrete, zip tied to whatever that is, and again, just coming directly out of the concrete. Like this one. Just, where's that going? Where's that cable going? Presumably the office up above, but just very shoddy. Not something you would expect in a normal data center. So, some of the cabling's good, but then like, you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just going directly into a concrete ceiling or a concrete wall. Cool. Now, if we follow it down to the other end, you see we got, you know, some cabling coming down for power and things like that. But these servers don't have anything plugged in. They're not even powered on. So I guess this is still being built. These servers haven't been configured or had an OS installed or powered on or had any data put on them. Which is fine, right? They still haven't cabled them, they still haven't powered them up. But my main question around that is, why do we have to come in here and destroy all these servers? Like, why are we destroying servers that haven't even been powered on or used or have any data? Like, can we not let them get a hold of the hardware? Is it like some kind of secret hardware that NATO has that we don't want the bad guys to get? Because they make it sound like we can't let them get these servers because there's compromising data on it, but obviously these servers are brand new, they haven't been used. So that's my second kind of gripe about this. It's more around the story, not around the facilities. But still, it doesn't really make sense. Now, if we look at these server racks, they're in a pod. That's what we call these. They're like server pods. And the way this works is this front area of the server is cold air intake, right? So cold air will come up out of these vents. Normally in like a real data center, this would be a raised floor. They apparently have the cold air vents, you know, directly in the concrete flooring somehow. You know, Laz is the HVAC expert, so he might know how this would work, but I guess they didn't pour concrete on the floor here, and then they have vents running underneath. Probably not how anything actually looks in real life. But at least they have some vents in the front that are actually showing cold air coming from somewhere, blowing up into the front end of these servers. The air gets sucked through the servers, and it gets blown out the back into the hot aisle. And the way this would work is, this is the hot aisle, which is a real thing. This is real. However, normally in these kind of contained pods, every like 3 or 4 racks, you'll have like a rack that's a chiller unit or a cold unit, and it'll take that hot air and recirculate it back out into the main area of the data center as cold air. This doesn't have any of those. That hot air is going inside of the hot air aisle of the pod, and I guess it's getting sucked out the roof into this bad boy and cooled. I guess that's what it's supposed to signify, but not really how that works. And then there's a whole bunch of ductwork units of some kind that I guess are also sucking air up into it. I guess that's what that's supposed to be. So kind of, you know, they got the right idea. It just looks weird. Full glass for this, by the way. Normally that's like plexiglass or plastic, and then there's glass on the front of the server doors. So if you remember, cold air is supposed to get sucked in through the front of the servers. However, these are all solid glass doors. Normally they would be like a mesh, right? Some kind of metal mesh that air can flow through. Can't do that here. So as soon as they power on all these servers, they're all going to eventually overheat because they're going to just be starved for cold air, and they're just going to have the hot air circulating back here and getting, you know, recirculated by this thing, which, you know, doesn't look like it really could do that good of a job, in my opinion. And these servers probably would last maybe a day, and we'd start getting a lot of temperature alarms and things like that. So overall, pretty shitty design. Not to mention, you can see these are the front of the servers. Lots of drive bays and things like that in the front. If we go in the hot aisle, there's also drive bays on the back, and this also looks like what the front of a server would normally look like. Normally the back would have like all your inputs and things like that. So pretty poor job modeling these servers. While we're talking about the server models, what are these? It's kind of hard to see with the glass reflections. Let me see if I can get a good angle. A lot of these servers have like a 9-digit keypad and a knob on the front with a screen, like a safe. Like some kind of combo safe that you have to punch in. Never seen anything like this. Maybe it's some kind of like top secret government server that I don't know about, but normally servers usually just have a power button and some lights on the front to show, you know, powered on. Maybe a small screen for some error debug codes and things like that. Never in my life have I seen a server with a 9-digit keypad on the front for, you know, whatever reason this is supposed to be. These are also pretty massive drive bays. Even 3.5-inch drives, which are like really pretty uncommon now, except for like deep storage kind of type of servers, are not that big. So I'm kind of thinking these are like tape servers, like old tape servers where they're recording on tape. These ones look more like 3.5-inch drive bays, but these are freaking massive drive bays. So, you know, maybe this was some kind of like deep storage facility where they're just storing a ton of data on like real cheap media with tape backup, and maybe that keypad is like some kind of old tape backup server that they got that had a keypad on the front, some old IBM thing or something, I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, let's move on to up here. Not really sure what all of these things stacked up on top of the server racks are supposed to be. Normally they'd be like, you know, up on the top you'd have like some top of rack switches, fiber channel switches, maybe Ethernet switches. These do have some small cables going into them that look like Cat 5, but they're going directly into what looks like drive bays and not really server ports. So again, I'm not sure what these are supposed to be at all. I don't know what that is either. It's just weird. There's no switches anywhere that I can find. Just kind of the same thing as this, but maybe a different format up on top. And then that looks like a box with a key and like a little latch, and the box opens up. So, you know, who knows? Maybe they're storing guns up there too. I don't know. Just real weird. Obviously, you can see here they're still building this, so they haven't put this rack in to this empty bay that's covered in glass. We do see this a lot of times where you have a rack kind of pre-populated with servers, and it gets dropped in, and the whole rack kind of gets wheeled in and dropped where it's supposed to go. When I say wheeled in, I mean more like forklifted in, or like on a pallet jack or something. But normally the benefit of that is at the factory, we will pre-cable everything. We'll run all the cable connections, and then you'll just have like uplinks going out the top of the server, and you'll just have to slot it in the slot, connect it to your spine switches, connect it to your maybe fiber channel if you have fiber channel storage, and connect it to power. Connect your power whips to the top, and it's ready to go. This is just a server with like racks in, this is a rack with servers already racked, but no cabling. So I don't really know why they did this. Kind of makes it a lot harder. Normally, you know, if you're gonna do this, you'd put all the racks in place and then rack the servers one by one. It'd be a lot easier, because this thing is heavy. Once all those servers are in there, especially if they have these massive drives inside of them like we're seeing, this bad boy is thousands of pounds. So this one's pre-cabled, so that's nice. Again, I don't know what those cables are for, where they're going. I don't see any cables coming out of the back of it to uplink with, so and also that's pretty sloppy cabling too, by the way. Kind of looks like garbage. Apparently this is how they are moving the server racks in place, with a little tiny hand truck with tiny wheels. Absolutely impossible. Again, like I said, some of these servers in here that are this size would take 2 people just to rack one of the servers, right? If it's a big, these look like 3U servers, maybe 4U servers, but I think they're like 3U servers. That one's probably a 4U server. Full of drives like that, it's going to take 2 people to lift it in and rack it. There's no way that you're taking this tiny hand truck and moving this fully populated rack into a slot. So, bad on them. Not possible. This is trash. I don't even know how they would get that under there, to be honest. This thing is so heavy. They would lean it back and it would fall over and crush somebody, and they'd probably die. I think that's it for this first floor. I don't think there was anything else. I talked about the cabling, talked about the pods, talked about how bad the servers look, the keypads. So let's move on to my favorite part of this whole data center. We're gonna go upstairs. Oh, first I have to plant the C4 on this pillar, because we're destroying these servers that have not been powered on, but we don't want them to fall in enemy hands.
We need more C4.
All right.
Let's head up.
Copy. This is Duke 1-1 to 10.
Where's the stairwell? Here it is.
Looks clear. Closing in on top 2.
Copy that, Duke 1-1. Meet us on the roof. Watch your heads.
Covering you.
All right. So going upstairs in our data center again. Just
Jackson and Tempest. Got eyes on site 2.
more
Backdrop
random
forces are forming up.
conduit. So they know how to use conduit to run wires, but then they just have loose wires hanging, going directly out of concrete into whatever this is. Power outlets, some kind of weird industrial power
On the
outlet
other
thing.
side.
More support pillars.
Wow.
Wire them up.
Copy that.
So conduits, non-conduit, don't know why. You can see obviously it's still under construction, still being built. So this is the upstairs office area. We got some cubicles and desks for people to work in. You know, all our IT staff would work in here, maybe spare parts stored on there. But then over here on this right wall, we have more servers in racks that are double stacked on top of each other, which it just makes me laugh so much, because how did they get these racks up there? First of all, we obviously have seen that they're pre-populating these racks with the servers. they would have a crane to lift these servers up on there, and then that's so much weight stacked on top of the bottom part of here. It's just not even possible, let alone, like, how do they service this? Like, how do you push the power button on this? How do you replace a drive on this? Like, what do you do when you need to get to the back of the server to check a connection? It's directly up against the concrete wall. So you can't get behind where the hot aisle should be to service the rear of the server, to do anything you would need to do back there, like plug in your network connections. A lot of times there's like PCI cards and things that are serviceable in the rear of the server. Can't get to it. And then where's the airflow going? Like, regardless of the glass everywhere, we got no airflow. We got nothing in the floor blowing cold air in the front of the servers. Even if there was, it'd just be blowing directly into a wall. So really, like, all of these servers, like, we're setting C4 and destroying this place, but as soon as they would power these servers on, these servers would be destroyed within a day. So really, instead of blowing up the whole building, we could have just turned on all the plugged in all the servers, turned them on, and they would be dead, like, within, 10, 15 hours from cooking internally. This is just insane. Like, it's just, I don't even know who was thinking about this when they designed it. It doesn't make any sense in any universe. Good job, Battlefield 6 designers.